The day I realized my HOA president had a key to my garage was the day I stopped believing in quiet neighborhoods. I woke up to metal scraping metal slow, careful, intentional, like someone picking at a lock they had no business touching. And when I padded down the hallway in my socks, half awake and already annoyed, I heard a woman's voice inside my garage say, "This won't take long. I'm just doing an inspection for the HOA." My brain stalled for a second because how do you even process that sentence before your blood starts boiling? Willow Creek Estates was supposed to be my clean reset, you know? The kind of place where the lawns look airbrushed and everybody waves like they're in a toothpaste commercial. I moved in 3 months earlier, told myself I'd keep my head down, follow the rules, and enjoy the peace. I'm not loud, I'm not messy, I don't throw parties. I'm the guy who brings his trash can in on time, except the one day I got home late and it sat out for an extra hour. That was the first time I got a warning letter signed in neat little cursive by Brenda Hargrove, President, Willow Creek HOA, like she was signing the Declaration of Independence. Brenda was the type of woman who smiled without warmth, wore giant sunglasses even when it was cloudy, and carried a clipboard like it was a badge. She'd show up in your driveway with a friendly reminder that somehow felt like a threat. "Hi, Mark." She'd say, sweet as syrup. "We noticed your truck was parked in the driveway overnight. It's not the look we're going for." The look we're going for. Like my house was a prop and she was the director. I tried being polite. I tried being invisible. I nodded, said, "Sure, no problem," even when it was ridiculous. But Brenda didn't want compliance. She wanted control. And control is addictive. That morning when I heard her voice in my garage, I didn't charge in screaming. I didn't do anything heroic. I just stood there in the hallway, heart thudding, and I listened. I heard the faint creak of my tool cabinet. I heard the scratch of her pen on paper. I heard her moving around like she owned the place. My first thought, honestly, was, maybe I'm still dreaming. Maybe I left the garage open. Maybe this is a misunderstanding. Then I saw it. The door from the garage into my kitchen was shut like always, and the interior garage door was latched, which meant she didn't come through my house. She came through the garage door, and the garage door was open, just a little, like someone had lifted it quietly. I took one step closer and peeked through the small window. There she was, Brenda, in my garage, standing in front of my shelves, leaning in to inspect my storage bins like she was shopping. Clipboard tucked under her arm, a little flashlight in her hand. I felt something ugly rise up in my chest, that mix of anger and disbelief that makes your hands go cold. I opened the kitchen door and said, "Brenda, what the hell are you doing in my garage?" She turned like she'd been expecting me, like I'd walked in on a scheduled appointment. "Oh, Mark, perfect. This will only take a minute." I stared at her. "How did you get in here?" She lifted her chin, all confidence. "We received an anonymous complaint about potential fire hazards and unsafe storage. The HOA has an obligation to ensure compliance." "Compliance," I repeated slow. "This is my property. You don't get to walk into my garage because you felt like it." Her smile tightened. "It's not about feelings. It's about bylaws." And then, like it was the most normal thing in the world, she tapped her clipboard and said, "If you refuse inspection, you may be subject to fines, and your access to community amenities could be affected." There it was, the squeeze, the threat dressed up as policy. I could actually hear my pulse in my ears. "Brenda, there is no emergency. You are trespassing. Leave, now." She blinked once like I'd spoken another language. "Mark, don't make this difficult." "You already did." I watched her eyes flick past me toward the driveway like she was checking if anyone was watching. I stepped back, pulled my phone out and hit record. I didn't announce it, I just did it. Then I said loud enough for the microphone, "You entered my garage without permission. I'm telling you to leave." She scoffed. "I'm authorized." By who? Show me something signed. Anything. She waved her hand like paperwork was beneath her. The HOA board voted. To break into my house, number stop, leave. She took a step toward me, and for a second I thought she might actually try to push past, like she could bully her way out. Instead, she angled her body and said, "Fine. If you want to be uncooperative, that's your choice, but you'll regret it." And I don't know what came over me. Maybe adrenaline, maybe the fact that I'd spent 3 months swallowing her petty warnings like medicine I didn't need, but I walked out of the garage, moved to the wall button, and pressed it. The garage door started to come down slow and steady. Brenda spun around, eyes wide. "What are you doing?" I didn't yell back. I just said clear as day. "Ending the inspection." The door kept lowering. Brenda rushed toward it, stuck her hands out like she was going to stop it, then realized how stupid that would look. "You can't lock me in here," I muttered. "Watch me." And when the door hit the ground with that solid final thump, I stepped into my kitchen and locked the interior door too. For a beat, it was quiet. And then, chaos. Brenda started pounding on the garage door like a toddler having a meltdown at Target. "Open this right now. This is illegal. You're obstructing the HOA." I stood there, phone in hand, breathing hard, and all I could think was, you had a key to my garage. You were in my space, and you're calling me illegal. Through the thin metal, I heard her voice shift suddenly louder, theatrically, louder like she wanted an audience. "Help. He locked me in. I'm being held hostage." Hostage. That word hit me like a bucket of cold water. My stomach dropped, because I knew exactly what she was doing. She was flipping the script, making herself the victim, turning my perfectly reasonable reaction into some violent, unhinged act. And then, like a stage cue, I heard the sound of front doors opening. Footsteps, murmurs, neighbors. I walked to my front window and peeked through the blinds. 3 people at first, then 5. Phones out. Faces, half shocked, half curious. Brenda's voice boomed from inside the garage. "He's dangerous," he snapped. He's got weapons in here." I almost laughed, this tight, bitter laugh that tasted like rust. I did have tools in there, like every adult who owns a house, and I could already see how she'd twist it, how she'd point at a hammer like it was evidence of a crime. My hands were sweating. My mind started racing. What if they believe her? What if the sheriff shows up and thinks I actually trapped her? What if the HOA uses this to bury me in fines and legal garbage until I'm broke and exhausted and just gone? I stood there in my own kitchen staring at my locked door, and for a sick moment I wondered, did I mess up? Did I make it worse? Maybe I should just open it and let her walk out and pretend none of this happened. Maybe the adult thing is to swallow it again, smile and let the HOA win because fighting is too expensive. I felt that heavy, hopeless pressure in my chest, the kind that whispers, "You're alone. You're new here. She has power. Everyone will choose the easy side." My fingers hovered near the lock, and then I remembered the sound that woke me up, the scraping. The quiet, sneaky way she opened my garage like she'd done it 100 times. I remembered the smug smile, the threat about fines and amenities. And I realized something sharp and clean. If I open that door right now, this becomes normal. This becomes precedent. I swallowed, stepped back, and dialed Pine County Sheriff's Office. When the dispatcher answered, my voice came out steadier than I felt. "Hi. There's a woman trespassing in my garage. She entered without permission. I told her to leave. She refused. I'm inside my home. I'm safe, and I need a deputy." The dispatcher asked for my address, asked if anyone was armed, asked if anyone was injured. No, just a very loud HOA president. As soon as I hung up, someone knocked on my front door, not hard, but insistent. I didn't open it. I called through the door. "Sheriff's on the way. Please stay back." A man's voice answered, older, calm. "Mark, it's Ray Thompson. I live 2 houses down." Then he lowered his voice. "She did this to the McKinneys last year, tried to inspect their shed. They filed a complaint. HOA buried it. Don't let her spin this." That right there, those words yanked me upright. Because it wasn't just me. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't overreacting. A few minutes later, a patrol car rolled into Willow Creek like a reality check. A deputy stepped out, hand resting near his belt, eyes scanning the crowd. Another car followed. Brenda from inside my garage timed her next scream perfectly. "Thank God, officer, he locked me in here. He threatened me." The deputy walked up to my driveway and called out, "Sir, come out where I can see you." I stepped outside slowly, hands visible, phone still recording. "Deputy, I'm Mark Reyes, homeowner." She entered my garage without permission. The deputy nodded once, then moved to the garage door and knocked. "Ma'am, Sheriff's Department, are you in there?" Brenda's voice came back instantly dramatic and wounded. "Yes." He trapped me. The deputy asked loud enough for everyone. "Ma'am, why are you inside his garage?" Brenda didn't hesitate. "I was conducting an HOA inspection. He refused, became aggressive, and locked me in." The deputy paused, then asked the 2 questions that sliced her power in half. "Do you have a warrant?" Silence. "Do you have written permission from the homeowner to be on his property?" More silence. You could actually feel the neighborhood holding its breath. Brenda tried to recover, stammering, "The HOA bylaws." The deputy cut her off. "Bylaws don't override the law. Step away from the door." He looked at me. "Sir, open the garage door." I did, slowly, using the exterior keypad. The door lifted inch by inch, revealing Brenda standing there like a trapped raccoon, hair slightly disheveled, clutching her clipboard like it could save her. She stepped out and immediately pointed at me. "He's a danger to this community. He has tools. He's unstable. He—" "Ma'am, stop." The deputy said firm. "You entered private property without permission. That is trespassing." Brenda's face went pale, then red. "I am the HOA president." The deputy didn't flinch. "And I'm telling you, the HOA doesn't give you the right to break into someone's garage." One of the other deputies spoke quietly with Ray, and another neighbor took their statements, and when he came back he said something that made Brenda's eyes dart. "Ma'am, we have multiple neighbors stating you've done this before." Ray's voice carried just enough for people to hear. "She tried it at the McKinneys. Everybody knows." Brenda's jaw clenched so hard I thought she might crack a tooth. The deputy asked me a few routine questions, and at one point he said, "What do you do for work, sir?" I hesitated, then answered truthfully, "Law enforcement, different county." That was it. I didn't puff my chest. I didn't brag. But the effect on Brenda was immediate. Her posture shifted like the floor dropped a half-inch under her heels. The deputies wrote everything down, collected my video, asked neighbors to share their clips, and then the deputy turned to Brenda and said, "Ma'am, you are being formally warned for trespassing. If you return to this property without permission, you will be arrested." Brenda opened her mouth, probably to argue, to threaten fines, to scream HOA like it was a weapon, but nothing came out. Just air. Just humiliation. She walked back toward the sidewalk, shoulders stiff, clipboard, now looking less like power and more like a prop. And the last thing I saw before she turned the corner was her face behind those oversized sunglasses, still trying to pretend she was in control, while everyone watched her lose it in real time. Lesson learned: when a bully calls it policy, the best answer is still the law.